The prophet Joel sought the attention of several groups of people as he described the terrible plague and devastating results of the plague. He looked on the old men and he said, can you remember such a tragedy happening in your time? He spoke to the old men first because they had lived longer. They had seen more. And there's something about getting older. You tend to look on life differently as you get older. Now I know we got some old fools, but, and by the way, I must tell you, it's one of the worst places to be an old fool. It's one thing to be a fool young, but when you're an old fool, you're a real fool. But in general, as we get older, our perspectives change. We start seeing life differently. Usually as we get older, we're less pompous. As we get older, we begin to recognize what really matters in life. As I said, we got some old fools, but I ain't talking about the old fools right now. Notice, for those of you who have spent a few decades on earth now, you will recognize the things that were important to you in your 20s were not the things that got your greatest attention in your 30s. And it certainly got very different in your 40s. I don't know, it seemed like I'm in the wrong church. I promise you, you don't want nobody to know your age? Okay. So you don't want to say yes about the different decades. Oh, come on here. Let me tell you, I tell folks all the time, when you have lived, you don't need to be afraid of aging. The people who should be concerned about getting older are the persons who have not lived. I tell folks, I say, hey, it's a blessing to get where I'm at. And I'm still living. Catch this. At the end of the day, if in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, the same things that were most important to you in your 20s are at the top of your agenda, I promise you, you're stuck. You have not benefited from experience. As we get older, we realize that there are some things we don't even get worked up about anymore. You realize you've got better use for the energy and your time. Because as you grow, you begin to recognize the real value of time. As you grow, you begin to recognize that you have to be deliberate in your choice of what you pay attention to. I don't know, it sounds like I'm in the wrong house. I pray that it is not that you've not been recognizing. As you get older, you begin to recognize that some things are not as valuable as you thought they were. As you get older, you begin to recognize that material things, with all their allure, are not as important as people. You begin to recognize that relationships are more important than things you can touch. Lord help me. I'm going to preach to you even if you've not recognized it yet. But as you get older, You realize that the things that money can't buy are actually way more important than what money can buy. As you get older, you become more acutely aware of your own mortality. The older you get, the more you tend to recognize that you're really just like the wind.
New Ebenezer Tabernacle Apostolic,
where everyone is a minister and love is real.